Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with Balaram, played like a human being, and so masked, he performed many Ati Martyani, superhuman acts. The next thing I want to speak about is the history of Vidura. So this is from the Mahabharata. Satyavati asked Vyas to again approach Ambika. This time the princess, knowing what to expect, would keep her eyes open. Vyasadeva smiled and replied, "So be it. I shall return again shortly after she has delivered her first child." In due course of time, Ambika gave birth to a blind child who was named Dhritarashtra. Ambalika delivered a pale child who was nevertheless effulgent and endowed with many auspicious marks on his body, and he was named Pandu in accordance with Vyasadeva's words. Soon after this, sage Vyas again came to the palace in order to approach Ambika for a second time. Queen Ambika was alarmed at the prospect of meeting again with the terrible-looking Rishi. So Ambika went to a maidservant who was her intimate friend and asked that she take Ambika's place. Giving the servant her own garments and adorning her with the finest robes, Ambika had her wait in the bedchamber for sage Vyasa. Now, although he knew everything, Rishi Vyas entered the chamber just as before. But as soon as she saw the exalted sage, the maidservant rose up respectfully. She bowed at Vyasa's feet and had Vyas sit down comfortably. After gently washing Vyasadeva's feet, the Shudra girl offered Vyas many kinds of delicious foodstuffs. Vyasadeva was pleased, and after laying with the girl, Vyasadeva said, "O good-natured girl, you shall be a maidservant no longer. Your son from our union will be wise, fortunate, and the foremost of all intelligent men upon this earth." Again, Satyavati was waiting outside the bedchamber. Vyas told Satyavati, "That queen deceived me and instead sent her servant. But that simple girl received me with all respect. Therefore, she will bear an auspicious child. Oh, my dear mother, Satyavati, I shall now go and continue with my asceticism. I will return when you need me again, but I will not beget any more children." So Vyasadeva vanished, leaving Bhishma and Satyavati reflecting on Vyasadeva's words. The maidservant gave birth to a child named Vidura, and he became chief minister and advisor to the house of Kuru. For my third theme, taken from this verse in purport, is the concept of fearlessness. And whenever this topic comes out, I immediately remember my favorite bhajan. Bhaja hure mana Sri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare, Abhaya Charanara Vindare. So this bhajan says, bhaja, just worship. Now, who is he talking to? The author, Govinda Das, is addressing his own mind. Therefore, Ramana, O mind. Sri Nanda Nandana. Worship who? The son of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan. And what will be the result of worshipping Nanda Nandana Krishna? Abhaya Charanaravinda. Because Krishna's lotus feet makes one fearless. So this is very important. We can overcome fear simply by taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Next is a quote by Lord Shiva found in the 6th canto in the incident regarding the cursing of the great personality Chitraketu. And in the course of that narration, there is this famous verse which is quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita and also by Prabhupada many times. Narayana para sarve na kutaschana bibjati svarga pavarga narakishu api tuliyartha darshanaha. So after Parvati cursed Chitraketu, and Chitraketu accepted the curse, Lord Shiva then spoke to Parvati. He said, "My dear Devi, devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. Why? Because for such devotees are only interested in the service of the Lord." Then we have another famous verse, again quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita and many times in Prabhupada's purports, a verse found in Canto 11. Bhayang dvitiya viniveshata syad ishad apetasya viparyayo smriti tan mayayato buddha abhajetang bhakyaikayeshang gurudeva tatma. When the living entity is attracted by the material energy, which is separate from Krishna, one is overpowered by fear. And because one is separated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the material energy, one's conception of life is reversed. In other words, instead of being the eternal servant of Krishna, one tries to become Krishna's competitor. And this is called Viparyayo Smriti. To nullify this mistake, one who is actually learned and advanced worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one's spiritual master, worshipful deity, and very source of life. One thus worships the Lord by the process of unalloyed devotional service. And since I took this particular translation from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I would like to include the short purport. Prabhupada writes, this is a quotation from SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM 11th Canto. It is an instruction given by Kavi Rishi, one of the 9 saintly personalities called the Yogendras. When Krishna's father, Vasudeva, asked Devarshi Narada in Dwaraka regarding devotional service, it was mentioned that previously King Nimi, who was the king of Videha, was instructed by the Nava Yogendras. When Sri Narada Muni discoursed on Bhagavat Dharma, or devotional service, Narada indicated how the conditioned soul can be liberated by engaging in the loving transcendental service of the Lord. The Lord is the Supersoul, the spiritual master, and worshipable deity of all conditioned souls. Not only is Krishna the supreme worshipful deity for all living entities, but Krishna is also Guru, Chaitya Guru, the super soul who always gives the living entity good counsel from within the heart. Unfortunately, the living entity neglects the Supreme Person's instructions. The Jiva soul thus identifies with the material energy and is consequently overpowered by a kind of fear, resulting from acceptance of oneself as the material body and considering paraphernalia related to the material body to be one's property. All types of fruitive results actually come from the spirit soul. But because one has forgotten one's real duty, one is embarrassed by many material consequences, such as fear and attachment. The only remedy is to revert, turn back to the service of the Lord, and thus be saved from material nature's unwanted harassment. The next theme is called, Who Can See God? First, we go to a verse found in Bhagavad Gita chapter 7. Nahang prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrita mudho yang nabi janati loko mam ajam avyayam. Krishna informed Arjuna, I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. Prabhupada's purport to this verse is significant. It may be argued that since Krishna was visible to everyone when Krishna was present on this earth 5,000 years ago, how can it be said that Krishna is not manifest to everyone? Actually, Krishna was not manifest to everyone. When Krishna was present, there were only a few people who could understand Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the assembly of the Kurus, when Shishupal spoke up against Krishna's being elected president of the assembly, Bhishma supported Krishna and proclaimed Krishna to be the Supreme God. So similarly, the Pandavas and a few others knew that Krishna was the Supreme, but not everyone. Krishna was not revealed to the non-devotees and the common man. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that but for his pure devotees, everyone considers Krishna to be like themselves. Krishna was manifest only to his devotees as the reservoir of all pleasure. But to others, to unintelligent non-devotees, Krishna was covered by his internal potency. In the prayers of Kunti in the first canto of SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, she says, Maya jamanikach anam agyad adhoksajam avyayam na lakshya se muda drisha nato nat yadaro yatha. Kunti says, being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you, Krishna, are the eternally irreproachable, blameless factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. So the Lord is covered by the curtain of Yogamaya, and thus ordinary people cannot understand Krishna. This Yogamaya curtain is also confirmed in the 15th mantra of Ishopanishad, in which the devotee prays, Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pihitang mukam tattvang pushan apavrinu satyadharmaya drishtaye. O my Lord, you are the maintainer of the entire universe, and devotional service to you is the highest religious principle. Therefore, I pray that you will also maintain me. Your transcendental form is covered by Yogamaya. Since the Brahma Jyoti is the covering of the internal potency, may you kindly remove this glowing effulgence that impedes my seeing your Sachid Ananda Vigraha, your eternal form of bliss and knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his transcendental form of bliss and knowledge, is covered by his internal potency of the Brahma Jyoti, and the less intelligent impersonalists cannot see the Supreme on this account. Also, in the 10th canto of SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, there is this prayer by Lord Brahma. Gunatmanaste pi gunan vimatum hitavatirnasya ka ishiresya kalena yarva vimita sa kalpaya bu pangshava ke nihika dubasa. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Super Soul, O Master of all mystery, who can calculate your potency and pastimes in this world? You are always expanding your internal potency, and therefore no one can understand you. Learned scientists and learned scholars may be able to examine the atomic constitution of the material world or even the planets, but still they are unable to calculate your energy and potency, although you are present before them. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is not only Aja, unborn, but also Avyaya, inexhaustible. Krishna's eternal form is bliss and knowledge, and Krishna's energies are all inexhaustible. Continuing, we find this prayer also by Lord Brahma, when both of these verses, the previous verse and this verse, both of these verses were spoken after the Brahma Vimohana Leela. So when Brahma came to his senses, he offered these prayers. So here is another one on the same point of who can understand or who can see God. Athapi te deva padambuja dvai prasada leshanu grahita evahi janati tatbang bhagavan mahimno nachanya ekopi chirang vichanvan. Brahma said to Krishna, "My Lord, if one is favored even by a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, then one can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate in order to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years." Then, of course, on this same topic, the famous verse from the Brahma Samhita, Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santak sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yang shama sundaram achintya guna swarupam govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship the primeval Lord, Govinda, who is always seen by the devotee, whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. Krishna is seen in his eternal form of Shama Sundara, situated within the heart of the devotee. And so, since this verse is taken from the Brahma Samhita, I looked at the purport and I saw that it was something that was easy for me to understand. My experience over so many years of trying to read Bhakti Siddhanta's Brahma Samhita purports, I always found completely baffling. I would try to read the purports, and after a few minutes, I would get a headache because it was just too difficult to understand, to comprehend his high level of writing. But this purport was something I'm able. So let's see what the purport says. The Shama Sundara form of Krishna is his inconceivable, simultaneous, personal and impersonal, self-contradictory form. True devotees see that form in their purified hearts under the influence of devotional trance. The form Sham is not the blue color visible in this mundane world, but is the transcendental, variegated color affording eternal bliss, and is not visible to the mortal eye. On consideration of the trance of Vyasadeva, as in the shloka from the first canto of SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, it is clear that the form of Sri Krishna is the full personality of Godhead and can only be visible in the heart of a true devotee, which is the only true seat in the state of trance under the influence of devotion. When Krishna manifested himself in Braja, both the devotees and non-devotees saw him with this very eye. But only the devotees cherished Krishna, eternally present in Braja, as the priceless jewel of their hearts. Nowadays also, the devotees see Krishna in Braja in their hearts, saturated with devotion, although they do not see Krishna with these eyes. The eye of devotion is nothing but the eye of the pure, unalloyed spiritual self of the jiva. The form of Krishna is visible to that eye in proportion to its purification by the practice of devotion. When the devotion of the neophyte reaches the stage of bhava bhakti, the pure eye of that devotee is tinged with the salve of love by the grace of Krishna, which enables him or her to see Krishna face to face. The phrase, in their hearts, means that Krishna is visible in proportion as their hearts are purified by the practice of devotion. The sum and substance of this shloka is that the form of Krishna, who is Shyama Sundara, who is Natavar, the best dancer, who is Muralidhar, holder of the flute, and who is Tribhanga, triple bending, is not a mental concoction, but is transcendental, and is visible with the eye of the soul of the devotee under trance. And finally, since Bhakti Siddhanta referenced this first canto shloka, and it's also in connection with Vyasadeva, let's go over that quickly. So this is found in the 7th chapter of the first canto. Bhakti yogena manasi samyak pranihite male apashyat purushang purnam mayang chattad apasrayam. Thus, Srila Vyasadeva fixed his mind, perfectly engaging it by linking in devotional service, bhakti yoga, without any tinge of materialism. Thus, Vyas saw the absolute personality of Godhead, along with his external energy, which was under full control. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, I guess we can have our Ishtagosti.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Jai.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, dear devotees, if anyone may have something to share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to speak. Thakur Murari Prabhu, please, you be unmute. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, and all goes to the assembly devotees. So, as usual, an appreciation for the presenter. So, although I came in a bit late, I got, a lot of nectar. And it's just a comment that the important prayers in the Leela, Brahma prayers, Queen Kunti prayers, so important at that level of devotional service. That's my short comment. So thanks, Prabhu, for your presentation. Always a wonder, for your presentation. So thanks for the presentation. Hare Krishna.
May Krishna bless you and protect you, and may one day you see Krishna in your heart of hearts.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Krishna.
Prabhuji, I believe, if I'm not going to be a little jealous, I hope you shower these blessings upon all of us assembled here.
May Krishna bless all the devotees in this group, that as soon as possible you all see and feel the presence of Krishna in your heart.
Jai! Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Now, I believe we're all satisfied. Otherwise, we're going to be a little jealous of Thakur Murari Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Anyone else with something to share or ask? Devotees. Prabhu, when Srila Prabhupada describes in the purport that, which was one of the subject matters you highlighted, that the devotee of the Lord, Vidura, was wandering through the forest and he was fearless. That a devotee of the Lord is fearless. What does it really mean when the Lord states that his devotees are fearless? I mean, Krishna says the same thing to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita 1866. He says, Masuchaha. Srila Prabhupada translates Suchaha as fear or worry. So, what does it mean when the Lord says that his devotees are fearless or they have no worry? What does that mean?
Okay, so the devotee has real knowledge, transcendental knowledge. As soon as you accept Krishna and you accept the process, meaning you chant, you take shelter of devotees, you accept a spiritual master, as soon as you linked up in the sadhana, right? Now you're getting real transcendental knowledge, and as you do devotional service, you're gradually getting out of the bodily concept of life. So this fear in other places, I didn't put it in today, but in other places, what is fear? Fear of death. That's the real fear everybody is dealing with, the fear of death. What happens? What's going to happen to me after I die? I don't want to die. Nobody wants to die. Why does nobody want to die? Because the soul's eternal. So the whole death thing is a bewildering experience if you don't have transcendental knowledge. But if you have transcendental knowledge, number one, you know I'm not this idiot that I see in the mirror every day. Okay? I'm not that. I may be ugly, but I say to myself, oh, but that's not me when I look in the mirror. That's not me. I'm something different from what I see in the mirror. So as you get transcendental knowledge, you're getting slowly out of the bodily concept of life. When you are completely free from the bodily concept of life, there is no more fear. Fear is only there. It was sort of mentioned in the 11th canto shloka. It all comes from identifying with the material body and the material world, which has dualities, birth, death, good, bad, suffering, pain, happiness, distress, man, woman, blah, blah, blah. Everything in the material world is dualistic. But in the spiritual world, eternity, oneness, bliss, and full knowledge. What is that knowledge? I am eternally Krishna's servant. Now, as you do devotional service, was mentioned several times, Krishna reciprocates. So, what the first thing Krishna reciprocates, he gives you realization. there's this line in chapter 9 of Gita, Pratyakshabagamam Dharmyam. This is a main reason why I became a devotee and remain a devotee. I was speaking about this past Sunday in ISKCON, San Diego, California. I was speaking on this very point, that you're coming out of the bodily concept of life, and Pratyakshabagamam, Krishna is reciprocating. If there was no reciprocation from Krishna, I don't know about you, but I would have stopped chanting after the second day. But every devotee knows, anyone who's remained a devotee knows, the reason why I'm continuing is because I'm getting little glimpses of reciprocation from Krishna. Anyone who has gone out preaching, sometimes you go out for preaching and all of a sudden there's this amazing surprise and you say, wow. Or you go through a very heavy experience. I've gone through some of them where people pull a gun on you and you just say, Hare Krishna, and the guy runs away. So little by little, you start to see in your devotee life signs that you know, yes, Krishna is there. When you take prasad, there's no anxiety when anyone takes prasad. You get tangible reciprocation from Krishna. So because little by little, Krishna will reciprocate the devotee's faith becomes strong. Because if there's no reciprocation, then it's like Prabhupada says, post-dated check. I mentioned this on Sunday, that some religions they teach, be a good boy, and at the end, then you'll get your reward. You'll go to heaven. To me, that's a post-dated check. I want to see something now. So that is what I like about Krishna consciousness. You take one step to Krishna, and what does Prabhupada say? Krishna takes 10 steps to you. So it's that reciprocation which nurtures the faith. So in the perfectional stage, because you have no more identification with the material body or the material world, now you have, it was mentioned about Vidura, real freedom. Real freedom means I'm free from the modes of nature. And the devotee also knows, when all else fails, Krishna is still with me. He never left me. Krishna is always with me, and Krishna will always be with me. If I have to take birth after birth after birth, still that Krishna, that same Krishna that's in you, not that's a different Krishna. Oh, my Krishna is better than your. No, it's the same Krishna. And he's been with me life. That's why Krishna says, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. I am everyone's best friend. Prahlad Maharaj said the same thing to his classmates. I believe Kapil Dev also says a similar thing. So the devotee gets more and more faith and confidence that Krishna is his dearmost friend. And so, little by little, the devotee knows nothing to worry about. You quoted, and that was very good, Masuchaha. Yes, Masuchaha means don't worry, don't fear, don't hesitate. It has different meanings. Some devotees say also it means no doubts. It's fine. It's fine. You get tangible, you know in your heart this process is the real thing. It's just like when a boy and girl become attracted. They can't explain, they just know. He likes me, I like her. Like that. You just know. Or you're eating. You're eating. So, me, I mentioned this on Sunday also. I've eaten at hundreds and hundreds of people's homes, mostly Indian, all over the world. And it's always been the case. They serve you the prasad, you finish, and then all of a sudden, boom, they put more. It's like if you look away for a second, boom. So at some point you got to go, no more. Stop. You practically got to scream, enough. So because the server or the host, his job is, I got to feed Prabhuji, because if I feed Prabhuji, better for me. So they're just doing their job. But my job is not to overeat. So it's like a little tug of war. So you have to be gentle. Mataji, Prabhuji, please, please. And if you see what I'm covering the plate like that. Because only I know how, if I'm full or not. They have no idea. I know. So in the same way, every devotee knows that this path is correct because you know from within. It's not some scientific thing that, yes, this, no. At this level, it's something you know. And that knowing is what keeps you faithful. That was an excellent question.
Well, thank you, Prabhuji. Your answer is super excellent. And I have a further question to what I asked and the beautiful answer you gave, but I'm not going to ask. There is one devotee's hand up. But even before we go to this devotee, what I would like to share with Krishna reciprocating with devotees. I haven't had much, but there are uncountable times when and where Krishna reciprocated with me. And I believe, because we talk to each other, lots of devotees, it's not been happening to me alone, but almost every Sankirtan devotee, you go out and sometimes you get asked a question that you had never thought of, and therefore you have no answer to the question. But out of nowhere, you get the answer. Krishna helps answer the question. And after you even answer, you begin to ask yourself, how did I do this? So it's very interesting. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for
Yes,
sharing
you
that.
are absolutely correct. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know right on. Perfect.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we go to His Grace, Dr. Hassan, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Your Grace, please kindly accept
Haribol.
my humble obeisances. All glory to Gurudev, all glory to Srila Prabhupada, and all the glory to the assembled devotees. I was a little bit late, but I'm fortunate to receive your blessings too. So thank you so much. Your Grace, I'm very curious about this question. We hear the stories of the Kurukshetra, the Kurus, and the Pandavas, and for instance, for Balaram, for little story I know about him, how strict he is, killing people, breaking people's leg, and always like Krishna is playing, and he is always so strict. So my curious question is, during the Battle of Kurukshetra, where was Balaram, and why did he not take part in this battle?
Oh,
This is my curiosity.
That is
Hare
a
Krishna.
very good question. Very good. I have the answer. Here's my answer. So, there were several factors involved. Balaram was sort of like the patron or godfather for the Kurus. The Kurus liked Balaram very much, and he had affection. In fact, we recall it was Balaram who wanted Duryodhan to marry Subhadra. And that also is surprising, that what? But Balaram, because Duryodhan was his student, learning how to fight with the club, so he had affection. But of course, as we know, Arjuna and Krishna intervened, and Arjuna got Subhadra. And Balaram got very angry. But when Krishna explained to him, then Balaram said, okay. So when it came time for the battle of Kurukshetra, Balaram was sort of like stuck. He would have liked to have supported the Kurus, but he knew if I do that, that makes Krishna angry. So Balaram had to be diplomatic. So he said, all right, I wish I could be on your side, but it's not favorable to my brother, Krishna, so I'm not even going to participate. So what did Balaram do? He toured South India. And he wound up back at Kurukshetra the day Bhima and Duryodhan were fighting. For 28 days they fought, because Duryodhan was more expert with the club, but Bhima was stronger. So they were sort of equally matched. And Balaram told them, hey, you two, stop this. Neither of you are going to win, so just stop it. But they were so, because their anger went back to when they were children. Their animosity, they hated each other from the very first time they met. So this animosity was building. So even when Balaram told them, stop, they was like, no, they were too much. They had to resolve this. So Balaram left and went back to touring. So that's where Balaram was during the Battle of Kurukshetra. He couldn't participate. Okay?
Yes, thank you so much. I was very, very curious, wanted to ask this question. So thank you so much. I'm very, very grateful.
Well, I'm just happy that I was able to answer it.
Thank you again, Prabhuji. Thank you. So if I may further on my question, which I asked earlier about fear, let me see if I can put this verse on the screen.
Yes.
Let me see, I think I saw it here. Okay. In SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, Canto 4, Chapter 23, text number 5, says, in the Tapovana, Maharaj Prithu sometimes ate the trunks and roots of trees. Sometimes he ate fruit and dried leaves, and for some weeks he drank only water. Finally, he lived simply by breathing air. So in the purport, I think the second paragraph, Srila Prabhupada states, it is also notable that according to Vedic injunction, to live in the forest is to live in the mode of complete goodness, whereas to live in the city is to live in the mode of passion, and to live in a brothel or drinking house is to live in the mode of ignorance. However, to live in a temple is to live in Vaikuntha. which is transcendental to all the modes of material nature. This Krishna consciousness movement affords one the opportunity to live in the temple of the Lord, which is as good as Vaikuntha. Consequently, a Krishna conscious person does not need to go to the forest and artificially try to imitate Maharaj Prithu or the great sages and munis who used to live in the forest. So, Vidura was touring the various places of pilgrimage, and mostly in the forest. And he was almost incognito. Nobody could recognize him. And he was fearless. In the forest, there are animals there. Animals live on instinct. Human beings do not live on instinct, and therefore human beings are actually more dangerous than animals. And per Srila Prabhupada's recommendation, it is much better to live in the Krishna temple. But because these sannyasis, they travel all over the world and preach to people. And like I'm saying, people, human beings, are more dangerous than animals. Should there be some sort of concern if even the sannyasi is not afraid to die? Because you explained to us that fear, as Krishna talks about, is about death, somebody dying, losing your physical body. If even the sannyasi does not care about losing his physical body, wouldn't there be any sense of caution for the sannyasis to take to say that, or to admit that there is danger here, and therefore I do not have to go at this particular time? When the danger dies down, I may go. I mean, what should the devotees, specifically the sannyasi, do in today's world where they do not have to go live in the forest, but they have to be amongst people in society?
So, we must always remember, Prabhupada's mission is a preaching mission. So, you will find also there is a purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The preacher, not just the sannyasis, any preacher, is always looking for the best opportunity to preach. So yes, sometimes we have to use discrimination. Like Prabhupada said, yes, we see all living entities equally, but that doesn't mean I come up to the tiger, oh, Haribol, brother tiger. So, and also you also can't pretend to be on a platform you're not really on. So you go step by step. So even on the sannyas stage, there are some sannyasis that are very, very experienced and advanced, others not so. So you're allowed to use your discrimination and select that which will be most effective for your preaching. Prabhupada wants all of us to live as long as we can just to preach. That's what he wants. So even myself, I used to go to South America every year. I used to go so much traveling, but now I can't. My body, I can't handle it. So even though I'm getting requests to go here, to go to India, I tell them I can't, because I have to try to conserve my energy so I can live long and keep doing these classes here for Africa ISKCON.
Die.
So yes, you make a decision based on what is the best for preaching. Like, I don't know if you know, but His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami now is arrested in Russia. Did you hear about that?
Yes, we heard about it.
Yes. So, you know, maybe he needs to think twice now, because you know how, I don't know how bad Russia is, like really bad.
Yeah.
And they kill people, and they, you know, myself, I don't even want to go near that place. But he's somebody who's very fearless. But I think he's going to, I think after this incident, he's going to reconsider. Because what good is it if, you know, we're supposed to live as long as we can to push on Prabhupada's movement.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Some of us are in knowledge of that, and in our own little imperfect, immature stage of devotional service, we still try to pray to Krishna to protect him, because we all need him.
You ain't kidding. You ain't kidding.
So much.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Dear devotees, does anyone else have something to ask or share in this wonderful Krishna Katha shared today by our beloved uncle, Nirantara Prabhu? I think there must be a question in the chat room. Let me see.
Yes.
Okay, so Prabhuji, Anadini Dhanam Prabhu is asking, so he is asking, discrimination is not completely bad at all. Is he right? Discrimination.
So, discrimination means utilizing the intelligence. So, the mind simply accepts and rejects. But the intelligence is a more subtle and higher aspect of the subtle body. So discrimination means, wait a second, I may like something, but is it good for my spiritual life? Or I may not like something, is that good for my spiritual life? So the discrimination is always what is favorable for my advancement in spiritual life. But if the discrimination is on the material platform, on the bodily platform, which is why we have all the wars we have right now. The Jews don't like the Palestinians. The Palestinians don't like the Jews. The Russians don't like the, whatever that country they're invading.
Ukrainians.
Yes. And it's all based on the body. So that kind of discrimination, we're supposed to be above that. I don't say, oh, he's a black devotee. If I thought like that, then I'm stupid. I can't think like that. Oh, he's a white devotee. Oh, no. Now, once again, in the name of devotee, you've fallen down onto the material bodily platform. Or, oh, he's a Hindu devotee. No. There's only one kind, devotee. That's it. Is this person a devotee? Does this person accept Krishna? Does this person accept Prabhupada? Doesn't matter. Black, white, green, red, young, old, man, woman, whatever, Eskimo, Martian, I don't care. Do you accept Prabhupada and Krishna? Then I love you. Then you're my friend. So, discrimination on the material aspect, that's bad. But you must use discrimination because it is an aspect of the subtle body. And you have to discriminate based on what is favorable for my spiritual advancement.
Thank you so much. I believe Anadina must be satisfied with the response. And I was thinking even lower animals whose intelligence is not as developed as humans, they discriminate as to what they can eat and what they cannot eat. They just don't eat anything that they find.
No, but you said it. They go by instinct. So
Yeah.
that's their intelligence, and that comes from because they also have super
Super
soul.
soul. Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Let me see. Yes. The questioner says he's very much satisfied and
Jai.
this is appreciation.
I am
Thank you so
happy
much.
that you're satisfied. Most happy.
Yes. Thank you so much. Well, it's almost 1 hour 15 minutes. Does anybody have something to share before Prabhuji leaves for the day? Well, I think devotees are satisfied.
Jai.
And Prabhuji, we cannot thank you enough for your love, your wisdom, sharing it all with us today and from time to time. And we hope to have more and more. It is said spiritual life, there is no satiation in spiritual life. So we would like to drink more and more through our ears into our hearts. And we hope to have your association in the very near future. And if
Okay.
you have a concluding words, Prabhuji, you may share with us.
Hare Krishna. Vishvambara wants to know how had Lord Shiva learned the SRIMAD Bhagavatam?
Oh,
That
okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I can't answer that question. But I will end with this,
Yeah.
that because of the time difference between us, from November to April or so, I won't be able, because my clock changes, and it's just not going to be possible for me to do these classes. So from November to April, I won't be able to. But from now until the end of October, and then in April again till November, I'll be
Yeah.
available, just so that you know.
Well, Prabhuji,
I'm-
okay, I can understand what you mean, but November to April, the time changes also here. So
Okay, so
yeah,
we'll have to see.
instead of 11, you are in the West Coast, right?
Yes,
So it's 8 o'clock your time.
yes.
Yeah, so November to April will be 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I can't do 7 o'clock.
Okay, all right, all
But
right.
if your clock changes, then we'll have to see.
Yeah,
We'll have to see.
yeah, we'll follow up to see. Maybe there may be a time that things might be favorable for us to have the association. But
In the
it's worth
meantime,
knowing.
I'm available any day during the week. I'm
Hare
available.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you
I
so much.
love you guys. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Oh, we love
Because
you.
I see that you love me, and I'm like Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, "You love me, I love you."
Yeah.
So I'm the same way.
Thank you. So much.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha,
Yes.
Kripasindubhyai pacha, Patitanang pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. ISKCON of Africa, Ki Jai.
Well, Prabhuji, before you leave, we would like you to spare a minute more with us because we have a particular ritual that we follow. And that
Yeah.
is, we request all the devotees to kindly unmute and we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our appreciation, utmost appreciation to our revered speaker, our uncle, great uncle, His Grace Nirantara Prabhu. Jai. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
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 Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Vancha Kalpa
Vista Kripa Sindhyas Patanjali
Namo Namaha.
All glories to His Grace Nirantara Prabhu Ki Jai.
Praise
All
to
glories to Assembled
Prabhupada's
Vaishnavas.
ISKCON worldwide.